When We Were Young by Serena. Nightlight adjusted his deep phthalo blue bow tie, making sure it sat perfectly against his greyish azure coat. The heartwarming Eve dance at Princess Celestia's school for gifted unicorns was always a grand affair, and this year was no exception. The grand hall was adorned with shimmering lights and festive decorations, casting a warm and inviting glow that reflected in Nightlight's moderate amber eyes. As he entered the hall, he couldn't help but be captivated by the enchanting atmosphere. The air was filled with laughter and the soft melodies of the orchestra, creating a magical ambience that celebrated the spirit of the season. Nightlight, being Princess Celestia's advisor, was well acquainted with the importance of such events, but tonight felt different. Perhaps it was the air of anticipation or the subtle magic that hung in the air. Twilight Velvet, a vision in her light grey coat and a mane that blended moderate purple and light grey, stood near the refreshments table. She was engaged in a conversation with a group of ponies, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Nightlight couldn't help but admire her from a distance, appreciating the grace with which she carried herself. Making his way through the crowd, Nightlight found himself standing beside Twilight Velvet. "Good evening, Miss Velvet," he greeted with a warm smile, his voice a gentle melody. Twilight Velvet turned to him, her light arctic blue eyes meeting his. "Good evening, Mr. Nightlight. What a splendid night for a celebration, isn't it?" "It certainly is," Nightlight replied, his eyes reflecting the twinkle of the lights around him. "The princess has outdone herself with the decorations." Twilight Velvet chuckled. "Well, it is Hearthwarming Eve after all. A time for joy and magic." As Nightlight and Twilight Velvet delved deeper into conversation, the hall buzzed with the festive energy of the Hearthwarming Eve dance. The soft strains of the orchestra served as a melodic backdrop to their discussions, creating an intimate atmosphere that encouraged the exchange of ideas and shared interests. Their conversation seamlessly transitioned from magical advancements to the intricacies of unicorn chess. Nightlight was animated as he described the strategic brilliance required to excel in the game, his eyes alight with enthusiasm. "Chess is not merely a game of moves and pieces, it's a dance of intellect," he explained, a certain fervour in his voice. "My father taught me the nuances, the delicate balance between offence and defence. It's a reflection of life in a way." Twilight Velvet, captivated by Nightlight's passion, nodded thoughtfully. "I've always admired the strategic depth of unicorn chess. It's a beautiful blend of magic and intellect, and your insight adds a whole new layer to its complexity." Their discussion seamlessly shifted to literature, another shared interest that ignited a spark between them. Twilight Velvet, a book publisher and writer herself, spoke animatedly. "Books have this incredible power to transport us to different worlds, to evoke emotions we never knew we had," she expressed, her eyes gleaming with the fire of a true bibliophile. "Writing allows us to weave spells with words, creating realms where imagination knows no bounds." Nightlight in turn shared his appreciation, though from a different perspective. "In my role as Princess Celestia's junior advisor, I often find myself immersed in political tomes and historical accounts. Yet there's a certain artistry to it. The diplomacy, the power of words in shaping the fate of nations. It's a dance of its own, one that requires finesse and precision. The correct words are often more important than any pony realizes." In the gentle cadence of their conversation, Nightlight and Twilight Velvet discovered an effortless harmony, each revelation knitting their hearts closer together. The exchange of ideas felt like an intimate dance, a shared rhythm that resonated in the quiet spaces between their words. The magic of the Hearthwarming Eve dance became a backdrop to the creation of something profoundly personal, a tapestry woven not just with threads of intellect, but with the delicate fibres of their individual stories. As Nightlight unveiled the lessons of his past and the challenges he overcame, he could feel Twilight Velvet standing beside him, not as a distant observer, but as a compassionate confidant. Her gaze held an understanding that reached beyond mere acknowledgement, diving into the depths of his experiences. In return, when Twilight Velvet spoke of her adventures in literature and the inspiration behind her tales, Nightlight wasn't just an audience, he was a willing participant, enchanted by the vivid hues of her narratives. Under the soft glow of Hearth's warming eve lights, Nightlight opened the door to his past, inviting Twilight Velvet to step into the corridors of his childhood. His voice, usually composed and steady, now carried a warmth tinged with nostalgia. "I grew up in a small village in Equestria," Nightlight began, his eyes reflecting distant memories. "My father was a wise unicorn, and he imparted to me the essence of hard work and the importance of the mind. It wasn't just about school, it was about understanding the ebb and flow of magic, about keeping your mind sharp and always expecting the next action before it happened." Nightlight's eyes now glassy at the thought of his father. "I lost him a few years back. Not to death at first, but his mind. He was no longer himself, not the father I knew." Twilight Velvet listened, laying a hoop on Nightlight's shoulder, her arctic blue eyes filled with empathy. Nightlight continued. "There were challenges outside of family, of course. The path to becoming Princess Celestia's junior advisor was paved with uncertainties." Nightlight wiped his eyes and sniffled. "But I always remembered my father's words. In every challenge there's an opportunity. It was a guiding light that led me through the trials." As Nightlight shared the vulnerabilities of his journey, Twilight Velvet found herself drawn into the emotional landscape of his past. The dance floor seemed to fade away, leaving only the echoes of Nightlight's experiences. In his words, she felt the resilience, the determination, and the heartache that shaped the pony standing before her. Moved by his sincerity, Twilight Velvet reciprocated by unveiling the stories hidden within the pages of her own life. She spoke of her early days as an aspiring writer, the struggles of finding her voice, and the passion that fueled her love for literature. Writing Daring Do wasn't just about creating an adventurous character. It was about embracing the unknown, facing fears, and discovering the hero within, she shared, her eyes reflecting the fire that fueled her creativity. "It was an escape from the life I had in my home. Always focus on school, don't take risks, and speak only when spoken to." Twilight Velvet sighed deeply. "Being the youngest mare of so many siblings, I often felt overshadowed, like I was nothing but another mare to be a gold star on my parents' socio-economic report card for Canterlot's elite." Twilight Velvet's tales wove a tapestry of imagination and perseverance, and Nightlight found himself enchanted not just by her words, but by the genuine emotion she poured into each anecdote. The hearth-warming eve dance became a backdrop to the unveiling of their true selves, and the connection between them deepened with every shared story. Amidst the revelry of the festive night, Twilight Velvet's voice shifted from heavy to carrying the resonance of joy as she spoke about the euphoria of sharing literature with others. "There's a unique magic in witnessing some pony fall in love with a story," she confessed, a tender smile playing on her lips. "To know that a tale I've penned has sparked some pony's imagination or brought comfort in their solitude, it's a feeling beyond compare." Nightlight's admiration for Twilight Velvet swelled, not just for her literary accomplishments, but for the kindness and determination woven into her being. The dance of words and emotions continued, creating an invisible bond that transcended the magical setting of the hearth-warming eve dance. The dance floor beckoned, and Nightlight extended a hoop towards Twilight Velvet. "Would you care to join me for a dance, Miss Velvet?" Twilight Velvet's eyes sparkled with delight. "I would be honoured, Mr. Nightlight." As they stepped onto the dance floor, the orchestra began to play a soft melodic tune. The two unicorns moved in perfect harmony, the dance a reflection of the connection forming between them. The world around them faded as they lost themselves in the music, their hearts beating to the same rhythm. "You're quite skilled on the dance floor," Twilight Velvet commented, her voice carrying a hint of admiration. Nightlight smiled, his palalo blue mane swaying with the gentle movements. "I could say the same about you. It's a pleasure to share this dance with such a graceful partner." As the dance continued, Nightlight and Twilight Velvet found themselves engrossed in conversation, sharing stories and laughter. The festive atmosphere of the hearth-warming Eve dance seemed to amplify the magic of their connection. Time passed in a blur, and before they knew it, the dance came to an end. "I must say, this has been the most enjoyable hearth-warming Eve dance I've attended," Twilight Velvet admitted, a soft blush gracing her cheeks. Nightlight nodded in agreement. "I couldn't agree more. It's not every day that one has the pleasure of meeting some pony as enchanting as you, Miss Velvet." As the night drew to a close, Nightlight and Twilight Velvet exchanged a lingering gaze. The connection they had forged in a single evening had the promise of something more. Before parting ways, Nightlight mustered the courage to ask, "May I accompany you home, Miss Velvet?" Twilight Velvet's eyes twinkled with a mixture of surprise and pleasure. "I would like that very much, Mr. Nightlight." And so, under the starlit sky of hearth-warming Eve, Nightlight and Twilight Velvet walked together, the magic of the season weaving around them like a gentle enchantment. The festive lights illuminated their path, casting a warm glow on the budding romance that had taken root on this magical night. As they strolled through the snow-covered streets of Canterlot, Nightlight couldn't help but feel a sense of joy and anticipation for the future. Little did he know that this enchanting, hearth-warming Eve dance marked the beginning of a love story that would endure through the years, eventually blossoming into a family filled with warmth, magic, and the enduring spirit of the season. A family that would change the very path of all equestrians.
In Canterlot on Hearth's warming night, two hearts crossed paths in a magical hall where laughter and music united them all. Nightlight stood with a steady grace, adjusting his bow tie, taking his place. The grand affair, a sparkling scene, a celebration fit for the season's gleam. Twilight Velvet poised and bright, her words a melody, her presence a light. By the refreshments her laughter soared, drawing Nightlight towards something adored. Oh, the dance of hearts, the festive glow, underneath the stars and the falling snow. In the warmth of the season their stories aligned, a tapestry of magic, two lives intertwined. They spoke of books, of chess, of dreams, of childhood lessons and life's swift streams. Nightlight shared of his father's spark, a guiding star through time so dark. Velvet revealed her daring quest, her voice like poetry, her soul expressed. Through tales of courage and shadows past, a bond was woven to forever last. Oh, the dance of hearts, the festive glow, underneath the stars and the falling snow. In the warmth of the season their stories aligned, a tapestry of magic, two lives intertwined. Through the twirls and turns on the polished floor, their laughter echoed, their spirits soared. Velvet's grace, Nightlight's charm, together they weathered the winter's calm. With every word, with every glance, they found a rhythm, a destined chance. The hall dissolved to their shared delight, in harmony, a perfect night. Oh, the dance of hearts, the festive glow, underneath the stars and the falling snow. In the warmth of the season, their stories aligned, a tapestry of magic, two lives intertwined. As they stroll through the snow-covered streets, the night whispered promises soft and sweet. Hearts warming lights lit their destined way. Two hearts united to brighten the day. Through love and magic their story grew. A family born of the bond they knew. And in the season of warmth and cheer, a love began that would last through the years.
Nightlight smiled, his palato. Nightlight smiled, his palato. Nightlight smiled, his palato. Nightlight smiled, his palato. Nightlight smiled, his palalo blue mane swinging. Nightlight adjusted his deep plateau blue bow tie. Nightlight adjusted his deep palalo blue. Nightlight adjusted his deep palalo. Nightlight adjusted his deep palalo.
It's the Mystery Pony Fiction Channel.